Just a little bit. Screw it. I'm not working tomorrow. I got this. Well, hello all my party people. Welcome back to my channel. This is Courtney. I am trying to protect my psyche, y'all. This is the end of Black History Month and people have been trying it all month long. So I am protecting my psyche. And I have been immersing myself in my books. So I'm here for the end of the month wrap up, okay? I've had a lot of these this month. Okay. Let's get started on this wrap up. So I participated in several read-alongs, buddy reads, challenges, if you will, this month. So I'm going to talk about each and every one of them. Now I'm going to put all the prompts that I hit and everything up here somewhere, whatever, okay? So I participated in the Missy Elliott Readathon and 7 prompts and I hit each and every one of them bad boys. So we have Binti here. There's actually 3 books. I did one via Audible. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Young girl in a futuristic Africa accepted to Uzma, big university in the sky. Just really interesting, dense, small books. Now, I did a buddy read with Chatty the Mad Hatter. You can check that out. I'm going to link everything below. And I also did a Nnedi Okorafor PhD vlog in which I read several of her books. And I'm going to link that below, and this is part of that, so I'm not going to talk too much more about it. Another prompt is Who Fears Death? That's another part of that Nnedi Okorafor book, blog. Very, very good. She writes some good stuff, y'all. Let's see, I had Clapback. That's a little short story. It's a sci-fi book basically about a white clothing designer who utilizes technology to exploit like African culture for her financial gain. And so in protest, you have this Black performance artist who utilizes like African magic for her own revenge scheme. So you have a book about a lot of frustration, cultural appropriation, and revenge, and all that stuff, and it is all too relevant today, but very, very good short story. And then you have, let's see, what's another prompt we have? Oh, we have Ikinga. Where is that at? Ikinga is also part of that, and Nnedi Okorafor vlog that I did. A really good book as well. And then you have, you have Black Panther. That is also about, I did a lot of Nnedi Okorafor, y'all. That's also part of that vlog as well. Like I said, link is below. And then you have this book, Wake. Okay, now Wake was, what did I do Wake? Oh, I basically was recommended this by another booktuber, Mrs. WOC reader. And this book is absolutely amazing. So this is a nonfiction graphic novel that shows author Rebecca Hall, who is an activist, a lawyer, and a historian, and she's basically researching women-led slave revolts, and she speaks a lot about racism and sexism, and I quote, "The history written by the victors always erases the resistance," which is why she ran into a lot of difficulty in finding information for this particular graphic novel. Now, I'm going to show you some of the, somewhere in here, just a lot of the depictions for this particular book. Like, this illustrator is on point, y'all. Like, this illustrator, he's an independent comic artist focused on depicting narratives of struggle, identity, and resilience. He deserves every single award out there for illustrations. Now, this book is in black and white, which initially was kind of daunting for me, but I think it is perfect to show the struggle in black and white. And it hits a lot of points I wanted to talk about. It says that New York is built on slavery and the slave trade. It says that the British shy away from discussing their role in the slave trade outside of the abolition of slavery. That's pretty interesting. it says there was more likely to be a slave revolt aboard a slave ship if women were on board. So women had their part in there. Now, interesting quote that I saw in this book, a lot of interesting quotes. This book is just amazing. I think it should be taught in schools. But it says, living in the wake of slavery is haunting, and that haunting is nothing less than traumatizing. And the trauma of our ancestors is stored inside of us, and also their resilience. Just an amazing, amazing, amazing book, y'all. I'm just like... It really talks about like how slavery came to be and how you had European manipulation of Africa and Africans in order to further more slaves being taken captive to help build the colonies in America, and how much of the labor that was utilized to build the Americas came and depended on African slaves. Just really powerful. It makes you cry a little bit, but anyway, really good book. And I believe that is it for the Missy Elliott Readathon. And the next readathon I participated in is For the Culture Readathon. So for the books that are part of my Nnedi Okorafor vlog, like I said, listed below, check it out. I have Black Panther graphic novel, really, really cool. You have Ikinga. You have Binti, beautiful lady Binti. I have Who Fears Death, an amazing, amazing, amazing book. And that is for Nnedi Okorafor. However, I also hit one of the prompts, which is the Billy Porter Unprotected memoir. And I also have a dedicated video for this as well. So I will link that below so you can check it out. You definitely want to take a look at that video for this one. He's an amazing talent. So of the prompts left, let's get to those books. So you have Passing with by Nella Larsen. Now this one I actually did as a buddy read, and we also have a live show that was yesterday, and also did a watch along party which was the day before yesterday. But this is basically a historical fiction novel that is set in the 1920s about Irene, which is a woman with African ancestry, and she rekindles a relationship with an old friend of hers named Claire, who is passing as a white woman with a white husband. So as their friendship progresses and Claire starts to come around Irene's household more often, Irene starts to kind of question her intentions. So it's definitely a very juicy plot, but you have to get past all like the classical wording of, you know, saying much without saying much at all. But you had a lot of elements of like racism, elitism, sexism, and you know, you get to see what the implications of passing for white really means, and the toll that it takes on those that do it. But very, very good book, and it's really tiny. And then you have When the Reckoning Comes. Now, When the Reckoning Comes is a very interesting book. So this book is about a black woman named Mira who goes back to her little small hometown in North Carolina to attend the wedding of her white friend at this old renovated slave plantation. There is rumors that this place is haunted. So you have a lot of interesting things that happens. But this book just shows you just the horrors of slavery and the depths of depravity of so many people. And it also shows that you can't really get away from your past. Really good book, really has some emotional content in it. So definitely check some trigger warnings if you're going to read this book. But definitely still all too relevant today. I assure you, I have this month, y'all. We're gonna get past that. Okay. What else we got here? And we have this cute little graphic novel, Bingo Love. Now, this is the story of black queer grandmas who met and fell in love as children, but due to like religion and non-traditional love stigma, they were separated. And then 50 years later, they meet and, you know, some sparks fly. But I thought it was fun. It was cute. It has a lot of beautiful illustrations. Just a very beautiful, beautiful story of black queer love. And I thought though that for these individuals being 70 years old, they looked really young, especially for Mari. But overall, I still thought it was a really good story with some really great illustrations and some realistic dialogue, I will say about that. And you have this book, which is part of the N.K. Jemisin read-along. I am still in the process of reading that for a live show on March 4th at 8 p.m. EST. If you're interested in checking that out and buddy reading it with the Curious Owl. Okay, so I'm gonna save this one for later. And you also have this beautiful little story, I Thought My Soul Would Rise and Fly. Now, I had never heard of this Dear America series. Apparently, it's middle grade fiction. And it's like 35 stories detailing like different girls. And it's basically historical fiction told in like a diary format of a young child living history and telling it from their point of view. Now you have, this is the diary of Patsy, a freed girl. So basically this is around the time of the Civil War when slaves have just been freed. You have Patsy who has a stutter. She also have one leg shorter than the other. So a lot of people underestimate her and think that, you know, she's kind of slow, but she is instrumental in helping building a school in order to educate slaves or ex-slaves. I am doing a buddy read with Dee Roussel. I'll link her below tomorrow on my channel at 8 p.m. EST if you want to discuss this little bitty book. Okay, so I hope to see you there for the live show. And then you have Make a Scene, which is a little cutesy romance novel where Retta's cousin basically is about to marry her ex-boyfriend, trifling, right? So she asks Duncan, who owns the gym next door, in order to fake date for the wedding in exchange for some parking spots. And you know, in the process, they fall in love. But I thought that this was like a pseudo fake dating because they were definitely hooking up. And I felt that no one like actually addressed the trifling situation of Retta's cousin dating her ex. I mean, in my family, if that was my friends, we would be throwing down. So I thought that was just highly unrealistic. And the little lame miscommunication trope at the end just kind of threw me off and I didn't like it. But, you know, I thought this was an okay book, but just was a bit of a letdown for my taste. And that is For the Culture Readathon. And then you have, let's see, Blackathon by Bow Ties and Books, or I think is Jesse on BookTube now. But anyway, so for Blackathon, I was on the Granny Nanny team, and of the 5 prompts, I hit all 5 of them. So, of course, we have Nnedi Okorafor, Who Fears Death. What else I got for her? I got Lagoon. This was a really good book here. And yes, so that is on my Nnedi Okorafor vlog. Check it out. Link below. We also had Nella Larsen Passing. Already talked about that. Check out the link below. And so the only other book that I really had to add for this particular readathon is Riot Baby. And Riot Baby, this little tiny book, packs a punch too. All these books pack a punch, y'all. Okay, so this is like a part sci-fi fantastical book about a girl with like powerful, potentially dangerous magical abilities. And she has a really good protector brother who eventually becomes, you know, incarcerated. So as she learns to control her abilities despite the anger fueled by all these racial injustices in the world, shocker. She sees through history and beyond these injustices. That control is definitely something that she is less and less willing to tamper down despite her brother's warnings about it. So overall, I think this is a, you know, family portrait, but also a historical narrative about like oppression, hate, anger, a lot of systemic racism, police brutality without any sort of accountability, and our nations need to intervene somehow, some way, and they need to do it sooner than later. I just feel like it just felt all too real in the past, the present, and definitely in the future, but very strong narrative here. And let's see what else for Blackathon. That is Blackathon. So what else did I do this month? Okay, so I did buzzwordathon, and this book, Passing a Verb, hit that particular buzzword. And also, ooh, you have Nice House at the Lake. So for Nice House at the Lake, this is Realm of Comics book club pick for the month. This is volume 1, and volume 2 comes out March 7th, and I already have that on hold at the library. So anyway, so this graphic novel has all the trappings of, you know, a B movie where the creepy guy invites his friends out to this like secluded house with lots of food, alcohol, and sketchy cell service, and then, you know, something crazy happens. But in this one, the apocalypse happens, and then the friends have to figure out why they were selected and to stay at this house and be spared, and, you know, what to do now that all the weird stuff has happened and all the stuff they're finding. So it has a lot of queer characters, some diversity in race, and a good storyline that, okay, y'all, my camera died. Okay. What was I talking about with this one? Okay, so I was saying that it had a very good storyline, and also I didn't like that the characters did not ask obvious questions. You know, some things are just, you know, a no-brainer. But I did think that it was suspenseful and it had a lot of loose ends, so I'm definitely looking forward to the next series. A lot of really creepy images too, but I enjoyed this one very, very much. I felt like I was in like a mini movie. And that is it. That is what I was reading in February. I hope to read maybe some stuff that's maybe a little bit less heavy in March, but excited to get to some new stuff and new reading. So please like, subscribe, comment, send me a little brown heart if you're so inclined, and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye, y'all.